by a CEE group, and so they were civil environmental engineering students, but they did a project that had a lot of socioeconomic factors built into it. So this is a locator map where they're showing you where Kenya is in Africa. Just keep that in mind.
Very important.
Yeah, you will need to build one of those for your project. So the overall goal of their project was to index what drinking water accessibility was like throughout Kenya. Basically, I think an interesting thing that the project points to is that data is hard to find in developing countries, but it is possible. And so if you have a project that you really want to do in a place where you think there may not be good geospatial data, come talk to us. We can make it happen, hopefully. So they basically clustered a bunch of demographic and health survey data from a bunch of different households, and they pulled it together into this shapefile that you see on the far right bottom corner. This is a model of the processes they used in their project. I'm not going to go over all the steps right now, but also interesting to keep in mind that you will need to build a conceptual model of what you're doing in your project, like the actual analysis steps. This is more of their analysis. They were very detailed and rigorous about it. The results, they performed a bunch of statistical analysis on the locations of, on the household data that they had gathered, and they did a least squares regression. We'll cover statistical analysis later in the class, but they were basically able to map what drinking water accessibility looks like across the country. They concluded that there was a lot of variability, that most populations throughout Kenya have poor to low moderate drinking water accessibility, and that those variables weren't really correlated to some socioeconomic factors that they had hypothesized they would be correlated with. So just keep in mind those various steps that you'll need to formulate while you're building your project: the locator map, the conceptual model of your steps, and statistical analysis, and also just rigorous keeping track of what your data actually means and interpreting it in a positive, interesting way.
Okay, so one of the urban studies ones, this was a group of urban studies students. This was actually for a thesis project, so it's an example of something that you could do to pull in data that you already have or that you're using for some other larger project, but then to put it in service, or to use this as a means to visually represent it. So they were looking at how Proposition 13 affected the spatial and socioeconomic development of California cities. They specifically chose Chula Vista, which is a city within San Diego County, and wanted to look at how things had changed since before and after the passage of Prop 13. So this is their locator map. This is where they're defining the boundaries, very important because there's data, especially for San Diego for some reason, for a lot of the area and a lot of really detailed information. So they bounded it to a very specific part, and then there's a freeway that runs north-south that separates into east and west Chula Vista. So they did a lot of analysis on that you can see in these maps. These are some of the change over time. This particular value that they're looking at is the percentage in poverty. They also looked at educational attainment and median income, I think. And so they had a lot of patterns that they found where a lot of the previous patterns of wealth had been kind of reinforced by the time that the 2000s came about. So they had several of these maps, and then they also did statistical analysis. This is a star chart where they're showing the east versus west, a lot of interesting results, especially in the poverty area, with the west side having significantly more poverty than the east. But just showing the social impacts of how to use this spatial data. They came up with the conclusion that there was a lot of inequality east and west in Chula Vista. They also, in their conclusion, acknowledged the problem of correlation and causation, because it's not clear that Proposition 13 is exactly what causes changes, but they were able to map it before and after, and so yeah, it just shows you how you can use the social sciences in these kinds of projects as well.
All right, thank you so much. So that's going to give you a few ideas for you to do. Now we have 2 minutes, and I want you to create your own site very quickly. Who has a computer? can you group together, work in pairs just to create like a dump site? Right now it's not going to be probably your final site, but I want you to all do it with me very quickly. It takes just 2 seconds. So just go to Gmail, so gmail.com, right? Everybody go to gmail.com. All right, and then from there you are going to go to more, even more, and you're going to go to home and office. You have those sites. So you log in with your Google account, you go to more, even more, in office you have sites, and just click there. These are all my Google site. So you go here to create, and then you can select whatever template you can use, or you can not choose a template at all, customize it depending if your project is water or socioeconomic factors. Right now we're going to just choose a blank template and just give it a name. So I'm going to say, don't put spaces, it's going to be the name of your website. So Patricia GIS test. I'm going to call it test because it's the dummy one for me. And then, I always have trouble with this. Okay? And click create. So you just click create. Alright, and there's my website. And that's my link. What I do a lot of times, I take that link to bit.ly to make a very short name of my sites. Have you ever used bit.ly? It just shortens a lot, so then you don't need to type the big thing or give it the huge link. So here how it works is like you go here to this edit page, and then you start playing with it as simple as this is. Okay, and then here, this thing. Cool thing about it too, the cool thing about it is that you can add a lot of different things. You can add a lot of documents. So you can, if you go here to more managed site, here you can see all the different pages that you will have here, and then what you can do inside layout, you can choose your header, your sidebar, your page content, and then you can go here to pages. And for example, what I can do with this one, for example, with that page, it just takes me back to what it is. I can start adding documents or different things. So your project proposal is going to go there, your data sources and deliverables, everything is going to go there. With Fusion Tables, we're going to be able to put one of your maps online. And then what you're going to be doing is after this class, you can decide if you want to keep it or you want to delete it and you don't want anybody to see that. That's up to you. Okay? But I think this is a good tool for you to use. Very easy, free. Stores all your data there, and then you can use it for your presentation. Okay, thank you very much.
Sign on the sign-up sheet. Here.
Has everybody signed the agenda? What? Yeah.
Maybe these are
I'm going.
I can go to the Thursday classes, so you can make
I think
Yeah.